Michael Sirow stars as Tate in a chilling thriller Boneyard, a film based on a true crime story. Sirow's portrayal of Tate adds depth to this suspenseful story, which will be available on video on demand nationwide in the US and Canada starting on July 2nd and hits US theaters on July 5th. Let's welcome Michael to our show. All right, so Boneyard is a chilling new thriller crime story based on true events. Can you tell us a bit about your character, Tate, as his role in the story?
Sure. He's sort of a wild card. I would say that he's definitely one would call a loose cannon. One of the things is here's a guy who's obviously had some tough luck that is his own doing that he's done. I would say was sort of self-inflicted, if you will. But I think there is a side of humanity that starts to kind of transition, and then not that he's looking for sympathy, but he's definitely someone who you could presume would be a prime suspect and possibly involved with something that is pretty sinister after all the additional plot points unfold. I could say.
Right. Now, this film explores a complex investigation with multiple agencies involved. How did you approach portraying Tate's perspective amidst this clash of egos and method?
So, um, I think that, that's a good question. I would say that, and just for starters, it was just, we all, for the first few days we were getting settled, it was rehearsal. It was just rehearsed. We just did the scenes and did them, and subsequently just one after the other. And then once we got on set, we would just go over them. I would say, some of the more private work, I was trying to sort of, which was kind of one of the reasons why I kind of was really wanting to sink my teeth into this guy in particular, is because these are things that I would never even, if I dreamt about them, I'd probably wake up and call it. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where I was trying to personalize with a lot of these nuances and traits that he's got going. And so it definitely was something that I would say, more than not was uncomfortable with, kind of just reading him, some of the subtext of, because look, this is a person who I don't think he really was necessarily, or, was ever really sorry while he's kind of in the moment, doing certain things. But once things start to really kind of, he's aware of how serious and the severity of the situation is, certain situations are, that's when I think there's a transformative kind of, oh shit moment kind of. So, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. So, Boneyard is inspired, of course, by true crime. Did you draw inspiration from any specific cases or detectives in your preparation for the role?
Um, you know what? What's interesting is that aside from the title page of the script, where it says, based on or true, based on true story, actual events, what have you. I didn't really know much or anything about the case at all, actually. And then, I went ahead to, Google, um, but and I looked up what, pretty much everyone else sees, but it really wasn't giving me sort of the bells and whistles of sort of what was the meat on the bone story. And, that came from Vince, who was, I don't know if you had a chance to speak to him, but he, uh, um, producer, co-writer, and he's got a plethora of information about all this stuff. So, but no, I would say just kind of focusing on, sort of John Tate's world and kind of who he, sort of just what he really wanted, sort of what the reasoning for doing what he was doing and sort of the obstacles in his way, I would say, if that makes any sense. So,
And so working with, such a stellar cast, like, you got Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, you got Mel Gibson, of course, you got Vincent E. McDaniels. It must have been incredible. Can you share a moment from filming with either of them?
so, I had a lot of um, FaceTime with just everybody. It was a very intimate ensemble. We were all kind of together all the time. With the time that Curtis and Mel um, uh, were present and there, and but I didn't really have any direct. There's a lot of acknowledgement between Petrovic's character and Curtis's, but there's never any direct you know, scene. My scenes were primarily with Brian, and some with Vince, because that was, that's his
Yeah,
family unit.
he mentioned the bathroom scene when you guys, I don't want to give it away, but
No, yeah, that was so funny because
yeah.
everyone was, you know, I was a bit of a germaphobe there because I'm like, this floor is filthy, just like we have to end up on this. Oh my God. It was, but it felt great because, you're always kind of, I mean, with just sort of the create, the dialogue moment, like feel it, you don't feel it, but this was like one of those things where like, you want to, the coordinator, Philip Tan, who was fantastic. He was terrific and he made it look very easy. And then we go and do it. And there's a lot of, moving parts in here. And, you just want to make sure you're not reverse engineering any of it. So, but yeah, that was, once we got it, it was rather fun to do.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was I remember Steve just coming. Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, yeah, no, the floor's clean. And I was like, I don't think that's clean. It's like the men's restroom. He's like, oh, we cleaned it. And I was like, oh, okay.
I'm
And
act
then,
I'm actually the same way as you. Yeah.
oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, totally,
But I will say that restaurant we shot that scene in it was so hot in Vegas, and that whole restaurant was full. It was the best AC. It was real. So it was nice. It was nice to just hang out in there. But yeah, no, that was a fun scene to shoot, and Vince was rather patient with me because there were certain if we're if you know what I'm talking about, this moment of really getting
yeah.
the plan. That was something that I had to do kind of on my own, and he was, we were trying to do that, be in sync with one another. And I give the stunt guys so much credit for that. They're really great at what they do.
But you know what? I when I saw that scene, it was a great performance on everyone's part. So
Yeah, no, thanks, man.
came out great. So
Appreciate that.
now I asked this question to all the whole cast member because I like to get their feedback. The film tackles a heavy subject matter. What message or takeaway do you hope audiences will have watching this film?
Cliff Note version, the best Cliff Note version that I've had very long-winded answers, like go in circles. So I'm gonna say never, always be looking over both shoulders. That's all I can say.
Right, right. Good
I
answer.
mean, it just then nothing is ever what it seems. So,
Yep, yep.
and uh, look, I mean, I think, you know, where I am now in life on a personal level, life in general can be scary, um, and that's what this whole film is about. There's so much unpredictability when you get up in the morning up until when you go to bed at night, right? So it's, I live in New York and, it's I'm in Cali. It's always, everything's always a risk, I think, sadly. But on the flip side of the coin, though, it's like you want to stay, I guess it's always possible and in fact, tangible to stay in safety, but that means you never leave your house, right? You always,
Yeah.
so, but I don't know if that answers your question, and
It does.
please as my publicist, because I was gonna keep you on here for an hour, and I would have gotten reprimanded.
I already hear it. So this is the last question. Here we go. What are some of the biggest challenges that you faced filming this movie?
The heat. I can't stress that enough. It was just the heat. I would say, because it's a very physical film. There's so many moving parts. Um, I would say that we in fact, especially if Brian was in a suit and tie and he's running, it's just all this go, 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 go. And anyone who didn't have short sleeves on, I pity. So I think we shot this springtime, but spring is code for, desert
Desert
in Vegas.
and humidity and all that nasty. It's like here in Florida, it's like gets pretty bad here. You don't want you to be outside.
But, there was a gentleman on one of the calls. He said I think, interviewed me second or third, but he said, I think he lived in Vegas, but he brought up a very valid point. So it's dry heat. And I also remember, because I got altitude sickness, and a couple of other of us got altitude because Vegas is actually, which I didn't know. And the set medic told me that it's 4,000 and change feet above sea level is Clark County. So there, we all felt like our heads were in the bites. And initially everybody suspected, part I left out, though you're getting this part of the story, that they thought there was a COVID outbreak initially on set. But no, there was nothing of the sort. It was actually people, because a lot of us were coming in from New York and LA. And the ones who were actually not affected by this were the people who were natives to Vegas. The director, he came up to me when he found out I got sick, and he's like, "Oh man, yeah, like I've lived here for this many years, and that happens to me." I was like, "Are you serious?" I could never, dude. I thought I had to go to the hospital. He's like, "No, you just need water. You'll be all right." I was like, "Okay." But no, it was such a fun time, and it's one of the ones that I really, really miss being around. I miss being around everybody.
You all look like you had a great chemistry, great performance, great film. I loved it.
Very sweet. Thank you.
I think this film's going to do great, and you were wonderful, man. Your performance
Oh,
just top of the list. So
oh,
good.
thank you.
So Boneyard gets released on video demand nationwide in the U.S. and Canada today on July 2nd, and in the U.S. theaters on July 5th. So, Michael, great speaking with you, man, and God bless you, and I wish you the best. I hope everything goes well with the film. I'm pretty sure. So, God bless, and good luck on press day. Enjoy it.
Thank you, Anthony.
Before.
Happy 4th to you and yours as well. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Same here. Bye-bye.